let's go. Welcome back to Hi Guys, BDR here, back with another WWE video. I haven't really made, a WWE video in a while, so here we go. SummerSlam is 2 nights now. That's pretty, yeah, I don't agree with that decision at all. Like, it just opens the floodgates, so now it's like every pay-per-view could be 2 nights, even though they don't deserve to be. Like, SummerSlam, it may be the biggest show of the year, but it does not deserve 2 nights. WrestleMania deserves 2 nights. Because, 14 matches in one night is pretty crazy. But, like, 12, 11 matches, that's pretty okay for one night. But, enough about my mini rant. Let's get started. So, one of the matches we have here is a six-way tag team TLC match. I'm not going to lie, my hype levels for this match are kind of like 8.5 out of 10. Like, I'm really excited for this match. It's been a while. I think it's been like over 10 years since the last TLC match at SummerSlam. I believe it was kind of like, 16 years ago? So, it's really been like nearly 2 decades, and they have basically the entire SmackDown tag division in this, which is really nice. Finally, the tag titles are getting some respect on their names. Overall, this is going to be a very fun match. I genuinely believe this is going to be the match of the weekend. Not just match of the night, just overall match of the weekend. You can't go wrong with TLC. Like, can you really name a bad TLC match? Well, overall, ladder spots, table spots, people going through ladders. I have Fraxium winning this match. I feel like it's time for them to win the titles. I believe everyone else is already, except Andrade and Ray Phoenix. I see Fraxium winning this, winning the titles and then going on to Raw to go save that division. Yeah, it's overall going to be a very fun match. Like, basically everyone's a high flyer in this match. You can't go wrong with high flyers and ladder matches. You got some heavyweights there and there. Overall, yep, in my opinion, this is going to steal the entire weekend. Alright, then let's move on to the next match. Oh, alright, Sammy versus Cross. Hype levels for this match, yeah, this is just a bathroom break. I don't care about this match. I'm gonna keep it 100 for you guys. I'm not gonna pretend that I just don't care. I don't care about the feud. I don't care about the story. Someone pins someone, and the draft happens, and they get separated, and they separate from each other for like the next 5 years. I really hope so. It's just like, yeah, someone pins someone, and they get their hand raised in honor. All right, then. Let's move on to the next match. Alright, next we have Solo and Jacob inside a steel cage for that US title. Hype levels for this match, I would give it, a 6. It's going to be an interesting match. Jacob can't have a bad match, even with Solo. It's just going to be usual bloodline stuff. Oh, the MFTs are going to try to interrupt. Big Jim with a chair. And then, like, Solo just finds some way to get out. So, yeah, Solo's going to retain. But overall, it's going to be a very interesting match. Yeah, just bloodline stuff. What you expect. Alright, then. Let's move on to the next match. Alright, next we have Becky versus Lyra for the IC title. Also with the stipulation, if Becky wins, Lyra can't challenge for the title. Hype level, 6 out of 10. That's such a boring way to describe a stipulation. They could have done Extreme Rules. They could have done Last Woman Standing. Hell, they could have done Submission Match or False Count Anywhere, but instead they just said no DQ. Everyone that plays 2K knows to turn off disqualifications and ring count. Like, this was just like, feels lazy to just say no disqualification. Just a long way of just saying no disqualification. False count anywhere. Extreme Rules. When was the last time we had an Extreme Rules match? Overall, these two are going to put on a good show. I mean, all of their matches, they've been bangers. I see Lyra winning, and Becky moves on to go fight for the World Heavyweight title. Yeah, great match. Near falls. You know, it's going to be a good match, entertaining match. All right, then, let's move on to the next match. All right, next we have the women's tag team title match between Raquel and Roxanne versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Woo! God damn, my woo was very awful there. Hype levels, 5 out of 10. It's at least going to be watchable. At least they're trying to do something with the women's tag division. And so far, over the past month, not going to lie, women's tag team wrestling over at the Federation has really been interesting. I like this partnership between Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. But surprisingly, I don't see them winning the tag titles. Like Raquel and Roxanne are going to retain. I could see Dominic, the rest of Judgment Day interfering. Raquel hits the Batana Bomb, 1, 2, 3, they retain. But it's still going to be a watchable match. Charlotte doing a moonsault would be very nice. Yeah, that's pretty much, my predictions for that match. Alright then, let's move on to the next one. Alright then, so for our next match, we have Dominic versus the phenomenal one, AJ Styles for the IC Championship. Hype levels going into this match, 8 out of 10. I'm excited to see this match because one, it has the best story out of all the matches. With the Dominic being injured, AJ Styles is a really funny person, not gonna lie. Janitor, valet, medical, medical employee. It's like I have laughed and enjoyed this entire feud between Dominic and AJ. AJ praying for Dominic to be cleared. And finally the match is gonna happen. Everyone knows AJ Styles can hoop. Everyone knows that, really, really wants to Dominic a hoop as well. Even though there's gonna be Judgment Day stuff, interference involved. It's gonna, be in Dominic's advantage. Dominic's gonna hit the frog splash. 1, 2, 3, Dominic retains. That's how I can see it going, Definitely need Dom to have a big SummerSlam win. And this is the perfect way to do it. Alright then, let's move on to the next match. Alright, so next we have Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul in a tag team match. Hype levels, 5 out of 10. At first when I saw this match be confirmed, I'm just like, I want better. This point still stands. I want better for both Orton and McIntyre. I just want McIntyre to win a world championship. Instead, he's going to be teaming up with Logan Paul. And Randy Orton's going to be teaming up with a celebrity. We should have gotten Randy Orton heel by now, but time, scheduling. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be at least a watchable match. I don't think it's going to be bad. I don't think that it's just going to be Orton and Drew carrying the entire match. I mean, Logan Paul, the wrestler, can actually hoop. And Jelly Roll, I mean, he slimmed down. He looks like, he's going to put on a good show. At the very least, he's going to put on at least a watchable performance. That's what we got to hope for. I mean, people were skeptical about Bad Bunny when he debuted. And he put on a hell of a good match 4 years ago in his debut. And people still talk about, his 2023 match with Damian Priest. So it's just like, I have hope that Jelly Roll is at least going to put on a watchable performance. That's this match in the definition. It's at least going to be watchable. Anyway, I have Randy Orton, Jelly Roll winning. Yeah, RKO, Jelly Roll Slam, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Orton and Jelly Roll are going to win. Alright, then let's move on with the next match. Alright, next we have, the Women's Triple Threat World Title. Rhea, Io, Naomi. Hype levels for this match, 8.5. Now, at first, it was a pretty unexpected turn to have Naomi cash in on the World Heavyweight title. Everyone expected her to cash in on the Women's Championship. But, she opted for the other Women's title. She's on Raw now. And, they just threw this triple threat together. You know, barely any story, but everyone knows Rhea could hoop, Io could definitely hoop, and Naomi, she could. They all three of them could hoop. It's like this is gonna be a very fun match, especially with SummerSlam. SummerSlam is known for big entrances, so I'm also hoping for some big entrances as well. It's just that table spots, probably a ref bump, unfortunately. You know, Naomi hitting someone with the title, going for her moonsault. 1, 2, 3, she retains. Another thing too, I'm seeing niggas online talking about Naomi's gonna lose. It's like, why would she lose? She's not losing her first defense. She's not. Like y'all niggas are smoking something, man. Just saying. Naomi's gonna win the title and then go back to Big Jim at the after party. Man, it's just the way that Naomi's just staring in that poster. It's like, mm, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Yeah. You know, Naomi's gonna win. This is another candidate of match of the weekend. It's probably gonna be match of the night, match of Wrestle SummerSlam Sunday. All right, then let's move on to the next match. All right, so now we have the other women's world title match. Jade, the Queen of the Ring, versus Tiffany Stratton. Hype levels 5 out of 10. There's no build, no really. The reason I'm giving this a 5 instead of a 3 is just that I like both women as opposed to like Sammy and Cross, but there's no story. It's just Jade won Queen of the Ring, and she's gonna challenge for the title. Hopefully, as of recording this video, we're about to head into the go home show SmackDown, the final SmackDown before Summercock. So hopefully something happens, maybe like a contract signing. I have Jade winning this match. I think it's time for like Jade to like be world champion. She may not be, the best, but she's improving every single match. I don't understand this narrative about like Jade Cargill is like a bad wrestler. You could say that, there's some things she could work on, but people act like she's like the worst women's wrestler to ever step in a WWE ring. Like Eva Marie, Karma, Oksana. Like what? It's just stop with this narrative. Like the thing about Jade Cargill is that she she may not be able to hoop yet, but she could at least dribble. And Tiffany's reign. I like Tiffany Stratton, but I think it's time to just drop the title. It's time. Congrats on 200 days though. Jade is gonna win. I could see like moonsault finisher, knees, knee counter, hit the Jaded 1, 2, 3. Jade is now your new WWE Women's Champion. It's at least gonna be a watchable match. Maybe this is gonna be like the dark horse match of the weekend. Everyone thinks the match is gonna be like bad, and then it ends up being like, a pretty fun match to watch. That's what I think. All right, then let's move on to the next match. All right, guys. So now, Punk versus Gunther, World Heavyweight Title. Hype levels for this match, 7 out of 10. We all know that Punk and Gunther they could hoop. Story, and it's been like a 2 week build. You're not really gonna get much out of a 2 week build. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, and this is one of the times you can't. This match is gonna cook. It's gonna be a fun match to watch. I still have Gunther retaining. I could see him just putting Punk. Punk is gonna be put to sleep. GTS counter into a sleeper hold. Punk passes out. Gunther retains. Like Gunther is not losing his second defense. And I know in some eyes this is basically his first defense because his actual first defense is like against 58-year-old Oldberg. And there's also talks about Seth Rollins could come back and cash in. I'm just saying this right now. Please don't let that happen. Please. I'm really hoping if that does happen, LA Knight comes out with a chair and like and make sure that it doesn't even become that cash in attempt doesn't even happen. Really hoping for Gunther puts Punk to sleep. Gunther retains. That's the match right then and there. Because everyone's been talking about this Rollins injury. It's real. It's not real. We'll see what happens on Saturday. I just hope that if Seth Rollins does come back in time for SummerSlam, I just hope, you know, either Punk or someone else or Penta or LA Knight, make sure that his cash in attempt is foiled. That like cash in attempt failed. Go cash in at another time. All right then. Let's move on to the next match. All right, guys. So we have Roman and Jay versus the Bronze and Heyman there. Hype levels for this match, 7 out of 10. This match is gonna. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen in this match. It's gonna be a pretty fun match. Not gonna lie. This is most likely going to be the night one closer. I understand what niggas might be thinking, bruh. What? Roman barely wrestles and he gets to close out the show over Punk and Gunther or the women. It's like here's my thing. Here's the thing, right? Y'all boys don't understand about wrestling is that whatever is the most popular story or like the biggest headline gets to close out the show. It's always been that way. It's not always about like the most fan favorite. That's just like you could say in some ways it's an unfortunate truth about wrestling, but it is the truth nonetheless. You know, yeah, this is gonna be your last match. The night one closer. It's pretty obvious. Who's closing out night two. Cena and Cody Rhodes. They have like the biggest headline story in the WWE right now. This right here is second place. So yeah, don't get upset that Roman. I understand Roman barely shows up, comes back, and gets to be in the main event. Hey, that's just how wrestling is. Whoever is like your most popular person, your most popular people, those are the ones you close the shows with, not open the shows with, or in the middle of the match card. Just letting y'all niggas know right now. But back to the match. This is gonna be a fun match. Table spots. The Bronze though, not gonna lie, double spearing Roman and Jay. Like Braun Breaker is literally the future of the WWE. I need this dude to have like a world title reign by the end of next year. I need to see him holding either the world heavyweight or the undisputed title by the end of 2026. He has everything you can ask for. Promos, wrestling, like charisma, like he's big and meaty, pause. Like what else can you ask for? I mean, Bronson Reed's good too, but like, come on, the money's right there with Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns. I mean, that's definitely a WrestleMania match. That's probably going to be like a WrestleMania 42 match next year. It should happen. But yeah, who do I have winning? Come on, guys. Roman is not losing his first match back in 4. This is Roman's first match in 4 months. It's pretty obvious that Roman and Yeet Man are gonna win. I could see table spot, ref bump, chair shots, super kick. Uso and Roman are gonna hit the double spear. Super kick spear combo. 1, 2, 3. That's gonna be, and that closes out night one of SummerSlam. Alright then, let's move on to our last match. Finally, the main event of Summercock Sunday. John Cena, the Unseen 17, versus Cody Rhodes. The king of the ring this year. You wouldn't have noticed if I didn't tell you because, they don't wear the crowns. In a street fight for the undisputed title. Hype levels for this match, 4.9 out of 10. You know, get your torches, get your pitchforks. I'm not that hype about this match because for a plethora of reasons. Well, one, their WrestleMania match was shit. Like, it's time to say it. 3 months have passed. It's safe to say that Mania match was ass. And adding Travis and having Travis Scott be in that match, no. No, 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 no. It did not help at all. Two, they don't have chemistry. We got to be honest with ourselves. They have little to no chemistry together, and that's an important part of wrestling. Having chemistry with the other wrestler. If you can't have chemistry with the wrestler, you're just gonna end up having like at least at least the match is gonna be watchable, or just you're just gonna put on like a pure stinker, and that's what they did. That's what they did at Mania. Like it was just so disappointing watching that Mania match that it just had me looking at the TV like that's it. That's the match. Like it's like they really have to step their game up because throughout this whole thing, I've just barely interested. It's just like just it's just like oh wow, you know, Cody Rhodes forged the signature. I mean, that's cool, I guess, you know. I don't condone forgery, but it's like, you know, story-wise, it's cool. In a street fight, it's just like, you know, how many referees we're gonna need for this match? We're gonna need at least 5 referees for this match. You know, probably we're gonna get like a table spot, chair shot, a few low blows, and then it's just gonna be like, you know, low blows. Cena hits Cody with the championship. Maybe we'll get an attitude adjustment. 1, 2, 3, Cena retains. I just really hope they actually have chemistry in this match. Really hope they can actually, you know, go together in this match and not try to like copy and paste, like I said, the shitter that they had at Mania. Because if I have to look at my TV screen again, disappointed at this match, it's just safe to say these two aren't wrestling soulmates, no matter how hard you try. Look back at that Mania match and then come back here and be like, do you actually think that match was good? Like, even if I'm watching just for the wrestling, fuck the storylines, I only watch for the wrestling. They have little to no chemistry. They don't. But yeah, guys, I mean, maybe there's like a 0.1% chance The Rock shows up and like helps out Cena, but like I said, it's a 0.000, so you get it. It's like a less than 1% chance The Rock shows up. So yeah, guys, that's basically, you know, been it for the SummerSlam predictions video. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, you know, road to 400. You know, if you want to see more WWE videos like these, you know, like, share, subscribe, you know, comment down below. How do you feel about these predictions? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. You know, tell me I'm a hater. You know, I don't care. It's like I saw a shitter, you know, back in April. I'm hoping nearly 4 months later they don't put on the same shitter. So there you have it. These are the SummerSlam predictions. Like, share, subscribe. You know, hi guys, out.